The following podcast is rated M for mature.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rating Pending Podcast. My name is Solid Space, and with me today we have Modern Mega, also known
Hello.
as Carlos, and we have pretty much a pretty good recruit up to this point. His name is Brian, right here. We haven't even prepared a username for him at all.
We do. AKA Hidan.
See, this is the info that Victor and Carlos keep from me often. So this is the sort of stuff that happens.
We kind of forgot to mention that.
Yeah. Holy shit. See, this is why, Carlos. This is why you never host. This is why it's either me or Vic. See?
I know.
Wow.
I don't like hosting.
Technically, first day on the job, and this is the first little piece of drama I find.
Hey,
great.
this is the stuff that you're good. We've had
just the beginning.
Puking in the intros. We've had random screaming, obscenities. There are reasons why the podcast is usually rated M for mature. And sometimes you should probably kick that up, but hey, you never know.
Come on, we need to have that one adult rating one. Come on. We're gonna get good controversy. We need the public. We need the coverage, guys. Come on.
Yeah. So
we need to do. Let me stop myself. Go on. My bad.
Yeah. For now. So we have three topics. We have Resident Evil 7 and what it could be, pretty much their selling point as of now. We have, mostly commentary on the Xbox Scorpio, PS4 Neo, and the recently leaked PS4 Slim. And last but not least, which apparently seems to be the hot topic around the block, we have the... Okay. We have the little... probably the most interesting thing, where basically Steam started allowing you to refund No Man's Sky even if you played it more than 2 hours. And apparently, from what I've been reading, it's not just Steam; it also includes for the PlayStation service, and maybe even the Xbox service. But we'll get to that soon. So I think we could start with Resident Evil. Carlos, would you like to take us in?
Yeah. Okay, I saw Kitchen when we didn't know it was going to be Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
It looked like a PT original game, like Outlast or Amnesia. It was scary. And when I saw that was Resident Evil 7, I was surprised. Like, oh, they're going this route. But then when they say it's not going to be paranormal, or it's not going to be like Outlast or anything like that, it confused me. So I say, okay, maybe that was just the demo and they just wanted to hype it up and scare us. Then I saw the Gamescom trailer. That just fucked my mind. You say you're not going to do a paranormal, but here you are, hinting us of a Outlast-type gameplay. What are you trying to sell us?
Like, from what I'm seeing, I guess they're trying to take the route where this is the info, but this isn't really the info. It's like, you're basically telling me one thing. It's like, oh, we're not going to do this. We're not going to give you a first person. We're not going to do any of this. And then suddenly you go around and just say, hey, no, yeah, we are actually doing it.
But that's the problem. Like, not a lot of games, like, this has been seen before with some like older games from other franchises that they like try to sell you like this type of game, and then they just literally give you something else at the end of the line. So sometimes it is a good marketing point, but at the same time, it really could really hurt the sales of the game.
Yeah,
which I kind of don't like, because like, okay, we can go by the fact like if they're trying to hint as a super like a paranormal thing, like element in Resident Evil, they can probably just like bullshit their. Sorry if I'm gonna be cursing.
No, trust me.
Go for it. Don't worry about it.
They can probably bullshit their way and do like literally the most worst cop out in existence for the franchise, that they're just gonna say, oh, it's a new strand of like the T virus or whatever virus, letter of the alphabet virus that we're in right now, that has, that allows that the people or the things that are getting infected by it or carrying said virus can go invisible because we try to make it scary without breaking our own canon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the creators did say in the interview, we're not gonna do a paranormal game. It's gonna be a sequel to the game series.
But
But
hey,
which
No
one?
Man's Sky will
Resident
promise
Evil
more
6?
content.
Or,
Yes.
like, you know,
Can happen.
I think 6. I'm not sure.
it would make sense to a certain degree. I don't know if the videotape, I don't remember correctly, I could be wrong. I don't know if the videotapes have like an exact year. Remember that every Resident Evil games like always tell you the year where you're at in the story, like before you actually hop on to the game. So if it's like after the events of 6, that would make sense, because like if it's like years later after 6, then spoiler alert, if you didn't play Revelations 2, you find out that the chick, the little girl that you save, actually becomes the next like Wesker in the line. So they can probably make it that they'll try to probably set up a scene with her for 7 if it goes after 6, like probably years or like, you know, like I don't know, whatever time period they want to do after 6, or if it's gonna be like a quote unquote spin-off in between, like, you know, 4 and 3 or whatever other timeline they want to go with the canon, then it would make sense if it's gonna be its own thing. But if it's gonna be a legit main story at spec that is gonna have like characters like, let's just say, like out of nowhere, Sade Leon or any other person that was prominent since the very first couple of like Resident Evil games, is just gonna make hardcore fans get really pissed and people that actually like the lore even more pissed as well. If they start whipping out like, now we have ghosts in the game, why we didn't have that before? Don't ask us why. We're technically running out of ideas.
My fear is that they're probably trying to push the series back into the market and not sticking to what they had. Like,
They're
at
trying
first
something
people,
new.
Yeah, but it's the thing that at first people thought it was gonna be like a whole reboot to the series, and then it's like, no, it's just a sequel. But you already have gameplay changes. You have this whole paranormal aspect, which wasn't the original deal for the series. Like, shit, like, is this gonna be the thing now? We're gonna take series that already have an established feel and switch it around? Like, is it gonna be like this? Like, it's gonna be Resident Evil 7, then Metal Gear, then whatever comes after, that are just gonna keep switching things around just because?
I kind of feel like what certain companies, like, I'm talking about like Capcom, Konami, any other like big name publisher, I think the problem that everybody has nowadays is that everybody wants to. It's the same problem since the beginning. Like when Nintendo actually became a thing, everybody wants to make their own like franchise that follows like the Super Mario series. That they still make the same character, but they do every new installment they do new mechanics for. They do multiple things. Like, perfect example, when Super Mario 64 came out, how many games from the PlayStation 2 line and what little life the first Xbox have in terms of action platformers copied Super Mario 64? Like, you had almost every action adventure game was the same cookie cutter thing. You have collectible items. If you want the real ending, you gotta collect everything, but you can still play the game like it is.
But that's pretty much the thing as it goes, and that's something I'm going to get in. But it has to do with how marketing has been working lately. Because right now, how many games did we not have in past E3 where it's like, oh, you have the story where you can customize your base and do this and do that, and that was like the whole thing for last year's E3, where everybody wanted this game that was the ultimate time consumer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I agree with you on that, because like the like years before that, like Minecraft really got its like true boom when it hit consoles, and I feel that's another thing that really gave like a form of an incentive of these companies to make games like that last year.
Yeah,
it's a peculiar thing. I think we can blend this into like the second topic, which is the whole thing with No Man's Sky. Because, frankly, okay. This is the reason why I put it in practically at last minute. I was
All right.
talking with Victor over the week, where the problem right now is we are so used to seeing unfinished games at conferences and having people bullshit us over and over and over that it's insane.
Yep.
Let me see. Hang on. Okay. Basically, for example,
Yeah.
first case that comes to mind would be
Mighty number 9.
Watchdog. Or
Uh-huh.
Mighty. No. Let's keep that right there. Hang on. Stay
All
right
right.
there. When Watch Dogs was first shown, the graphics were insane. Everything was great. Everything looked amazing. When the game comes out, it's not even half of what was promised. And then
I really felt bad because I was one of those very few people that really like Watch Dogs' first trailer because it's literally like you're Hacker Man. You hack stuff. You can do stuff while hacking.
The game looked beautiful. The story looked amazing, and then it became a blockbuster.
Yeah, and then it became what it is.
Right now, and it's one of my most anticipated games for this year is Final Fantasy 15. And you already have all these people complaining about the graphic downgrade and how the game was delayed and all these things. And the fear right now is, according to what some sources say, the game has been having demo problems. The game has been constantly crashing whenever they're playing. It's giving issues. It's been freezing. And the problem with that is you've promised such a big game, and I get it. The game was supposed to be made years ago. It's been 10 years, maybe a little more up to this point. And the game's only been in development for 3 to 4 years because of all the files that were lost back in Square. And I understand the pressure. I understand the biggest pressure of it all being that if this game doesn't work, that's it for Final Fantasy. That was pretty much their premise.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand them wanting to make this such a huge game, but maybe they don't have to. And that's the issue right now. No Man's Sky was constantly hyped up year after year after year, specifically by their lead programmer. And it was going to have, you're going to have this, you're going to have all these creatures, stampedes, it's all going to be randomly generated, it's all this thing. I can just imagine the team watching him speak and be like, we can't do that shit. Just looking at each other, panicking in the other room, like, what the fuck is he talking about? This is not.
What is he doing?
Or they're almost like the final press conference that they did for the game after he said you can find space dinosaurs on planets and whatnot. I just imagine the development team seeing the live stream of the conference, and they're all like, we gotta tell them the truth that we can't do this.
Yeah, I can imagine somebody going I gotta tell him, and just trying to run up to the stage, and they're all holding him. No, you're gonna get fired. Because
exactly.
Quite frankly, I have 2 theories as to what happened. One, they really didn't know how to do it at the time. They were hyping up the game for the future. They thought they were gonna have more time, but their time limit became short. Or 2, they simply decided, hey, let's just release what we have and update it as it goes. Either of those 2 could be the possibility.
But that's the thing. If they went for the second, this is let us all wear our tinfoil hats and do conspiracy theories right now. If they actually did if they did the second option that you just mentioned, I feel that they should have informed everybody that paid full price for the game immediately when it was on launch. But it's just depressing knowing that people. It's it's like Mighty Number 9, knowing that people bought for the game full price just to play an unplayable game, or in this case, a game that does not have literally not a lot of content. Which literally, it's you bought. Okay, better example. You bought a sandwich that has everything. It has all cheeses, all hams, whatever, the shebang, and then they handed you 2 slices of bread and it's not even toasted. Here, eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
But you paid full price for the sandwich, but no, that's your sandwich.
We
got ketchup packets right there to the side if you want that.
I keep saying that games shouldn't be shown during their development. Why? always subject to change, and there's always
Yeah.
going to be something that's going to be done.
I
was reading
agree
once-
with you right there. Like
Like-
I really sorry to be cutting you off there. Like
No,
I
it's
agree
fine.
with you. Like it really does literally annoys the fuck out of me that companies like try to overhype their product, or they try to overhype like the concept of a game, and they never show like no development whatsoever, or they don't like show pictures or like character models or whatnot, and it just ends up becoming like shit. I'm looking at you, Inafune.
Oh God.
Like at the moment, I feel like the only game, like because we're talking about games that are still being developed and it still looks prominent to being in development. So far, I like what was the name of that the Kickstarter project from the guy that does Castlevania again? What was his new game?
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained looks really good. The last build that they did, it's literally worth the money that people put into it, because it runs literally like a new age Symphony of the Night, and it's gonna get better because it was still, I think it was like in an alpha state of the demo for E3, something like that.
The curious thing here, and as you mentioned that, right now we're in a time where we constantly, we're like games right now, that the way that they're working is one of four ways. Way number one, you take an old game, remaster it, bring it to HD, or remake it and bring it to new stuff.
Yeah,
Always losing part of the content, or maybe even improving it. Option number
like
two.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Option number two, you make this huge promise for a game, and at the end of the day, it doesn't even comply. Option number three, you're an indie game developer that probably made one of the coolest games out there, but it didn't live long enough.
hmm
Yeah,
Or option number four, you're the standard in the industry where you are sequel number, God knows what, say
Yeah.
12. I'm looking at you, Call of Duty, and you haven't changed anything except for maybe one or two things aesthetically.
or you do option. What number were we at? Option 7 or option 6?
Option 5, actually.
Okay, or you can go to option 5. Fire your best like gaining like high potential like candidate, employee, whatever you want to call it, and then then use his or own franchise, and then make a spin-off that you may pray to God that you're gonna get your money back.
I wonder
be
who
fair,
I'm
could
looking
put
at
that-
you, Survive.
Yeah.
To be
that-
fair, that's a whole 50-50 thing. So, you know,
Exactly.
that is
It could
a
be
pretty long
good, or
promise.
it could be completely like shit. I feel like it's gonna be completely shit.
Same here.
Yeah, that's what many people are feeling up to this point. But I get it, because I get the feeling, because the person behind the original project isn't there, and even though that, that also puts down every other employee that probably worked on it and
Yeah.
didn't stay there. That's literally what they're gonna have to deal with up to this point. The curious thing is the fact that Steam managed to, like, Steam decided to be like, hey, these people really, really got ripped off. Let's give them back their money, pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's gonna keep on happening. Like
But
again, going
it's
back to
also
the
a
indie
warning
developers.
sign. This is a beautiful warning sign, because now you know that the market is getting tired of having people spend their money and eventually have to come back and have to return part of that money. This whole
But here,
Yeah.
this whole trade
here-
system that's been established
Yeah.
for years, it's already getting them tired. How many times, and maybe not now, yes, GameStop used to, and I say used to because we're Puerto Rican and it's no longer here, but how
Yeah.
many times did we not go back on the same first week and get at least half our money back? That's $30 that the store doesn't keep. That's $30 that doesn't go anywhere except back to your own pocket
yeah,
or
Yeah.
invested into another game. Fact of the matter is, it's a way to lose money. And if you're making a product, it's very rare that you want that product back. Actually, you
Yeah.
usually never want it back. You just want it for people to already have and keep.
Yeah. Sadly, in other words,
Mhm.
when it's an indie company making a game and it looks beautiful, like No Man's Sky, Hello Games, it was their first big ass game, and
Yeah.
technically they're still indie.
Technically.
Another good example, DayZ. It started as a mod, then the game that's from the mod decided, hey, let's make a full game out of it. And we're still waiting for it. A big one that I'm sad, and a lot of people are really hyped for this game, and I'm sad that I'm afraid that's going to happen like No Man's Sky. Star Citizen.
Oh yeah, that's literally No Man's Sky, but it's literally No Man's Sky.
But you're promising us so much stuff at the end. Yes, it's for PC, and maybe it's going to work. Maybe it's not. But you're already making us pay 30, 50, 80 for just to have a ship available when you start the game. I paid $30 already. I played the game. Yeah, it's fun. The ship looks beautiful, gorgeous. The game looks beautiful too. But I'm already there. I'm obligated to play your game because I already played. I paid for it, so I'm hoping that you do a good job, and not like the other indie developers that they tried their best. I bet they did. But at the end, they just said, "Fuck, we can't do all this stuff that we promised."
Yeah,
I say that a person should always at least own up to their mistakes. Like in the past 2 years, specifically, which was supposed to be the peak for the new generation, not just in consoles but in PC as well.
Yeah,
we've had games that have come out to be decent. We've had very few games that came out fantastic. But most of the games were like, oh, you remember all this that we promised you? Yeah, we cut part of that out for DLC.
Yeah.
Or hey, you remember how we promised this was going to be a faithful successor to this? Nah, no, we're just going to give you an arcade version, Battlefront.
Or we just you see these very beautiful like cutscenes that were kind of hinting that we're going to do remastered games of your beloved franchises, but with beautiful graphics. No, we're just going to make pachinko machines out of it.
Like,
yeah.
Oh god.
Up to this point, honestly, if I ever hear someone say, and I've heard it before, like, oh, game development is a joke, I'm not going to blame them. Because up to this point, especially in these last 2 years, we've had so many issues. But in all sense of reality, it's not the developer's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how things are. Like, people have been so focused on recreating reality into the game. Like, giving you something to completely avoid it, that they completely forgot the main element, which is gameplay. You can make a game look beautiful, but if it runs like shit, what's the point?
Yeah.
Okay? It's the typical theory of you can't actually have a game that looks beautifully well on Ultra with no problems and run at 60 frames per second. That's impossible. As much as you want to say, oh, my PC can do it, it can't. Somewhere where you're not looking, that game is not producing the amount. Like, it is impossible to provide that much information. And you learn that if you actually look through it. And a lot of big companies say it. Sometimes you have to drop graphics in order to improve gameplay.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that says 30 frames was not bad. Yes, 60 is okay. It looks somewhat smoother, but it also looks slower up to a certain point. But I don't really need a game to look all that real. I don't want to see polygons, but hey, if it fits the game, then go for it. But I don't need to see something hyper real. I don't really need something to completely replace my reality.
And if you're gonna do that, don't rush the game. Take your time. Finish your fucking game. Like, look at fucking GTA 5. It's a perfect game. There's some stuff that
up to a sense, yeah,
but literally, it's a perfect game in what it has.
It's maybe a DLC.
It's fucking 10 years of development. Games now like Call of Duty or fucking, I don't know, any Nintendo game or Xbox.
I would say Mario mostly, because Mario.
Exactly. They take like 3 or 2 years.
3 to 4 years tends to be
exactly
standard, but it's
make a game, and that's not enough.
I mean, it is enough for certain games. If you're just going to be reusing assets that you've had for years, you can just go ahead. 3 or 4 years, you're fine. But when you're just making something from scratch, completely from scratch, you should take your time, and that's something that companies don't understand. Companies only see the money. They don't see the product. They don't see the people that will continue to invest in said product. They just see like, oh, how much money can we make on this day? Oh, we can make 5 million. Make the 5 million. Sir, the game's not ready. I want the 5 million by then. Like it's that whole ordeal. It's just another investment to them. Which into investments, and pretty much it goes with what we're talking. Surprisingly, all topics have actually blended very nicely.
Yeah.
Last E3, we were shown the Xbox Slim, or S, however they want to call it, and just bits of what Project Scorpio is going to look like and what it's going to have and all this shit.
All right.
And recently, PlayStation Slim got leaked, and we still haven't seen Neo. I believe we're going to be getting information on Neo very soon.
Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, that's
most likely.
That sounds similar, right? Like,
it's already confirmed.
Okay. The same way that games have been overhyped all these years. September 7th. Thank you. Same way that games have been overhyped, so have been consoles. A lot of people complain about the possibility and the fact that Neo and Scorpio are what the consoles should have been at the beginning. But at the same time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 360 was made only to last about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And PlayStation 3, I believe it was meant to run for less. I'm not completely sure about it.
And both of them surpassed that completely.
Both of them surpassed her.
They literally survived a bunch of years.
So I can
compared to like their predecessors.
I can understand why they would release a console suddenly to continue, even though it's been such a slow startup.
Yeah.
There is talks that probably Scorpio and Neo will be the last two consoles.
I doubt it.
And then I heavily doubt it. But like from there on out, just continue updating it.
Don't forget the NX coming too.
The NX, which is still constantly being patented, and we know jack shit about it, except for the controller apparently being a tablet.
Exactly, 3 consoles that are saying that are so powerful that they're literally comparing it to a fucking PC.
Even though it's low end.
Yeah.
Don't do that, game companies. Like, I know you're proud of your console and stuff, but don't make us think that it's gonna be better than a PC or a console
what just came to mind, Carlos?
Actually, don't lie to us. What?
You know this whole thing about like consoles saying like when it comes to Scorpio NX and like Neo, they're like they want to their new consoles. They're gonna be like like PCs. It reminds me of the old PC versus Mac commercials. Is like, oh, I'm a PC and I do this and this and this. Oh, but I'm a Mac. I do this and this and this. Yeah, even better.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing, but in real life.
Like honestly, okay, aesthetically. Both slim versions look cool. I still prefer the Xbox look. Like the look to it looks nicer.
Yeah, because if you see the original Xbox One, how it looks like, it literally looks like a thing that I can run my VHS tapes. It's literally like a giant ass cable box.
It's huge.
You know what's the funny thing about the Xbox One? It's actually a lot of empty space on the inside.
Yeah.
Most of it was for like the cables and shit. It's like, okay, it looks.
Are you fucking
it looks red.
You can literally add a hard drive in it.
You can fit a hard drive in there, no problem. Like, it looks. Honestly, I like the Xbox One's look more than the PS4 because I just really don't like the italic bend that the PS4 has.
Hey, come on! It gives it the edge.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut myself with that edge.
Exactly, crawling in my skin.
But,
yeah, at least it's not a fucking big ass block that takes half your space in your
exactly
desk.
At least.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about space and how it takes less, I think the Wii U beats both of them completely out of the market.
That's
too bad the Wii U was a dying console since launch.
It's already dead.
Exactly.
It's not dying. It's dead.
It dies in March. Sadly, I have mine right here. I still play it.
Oh god, that was a horrible analogy I just had in my head. But please continue.
The curious thing is the Xbox slightly reinvented the look for the Slim, and PlayStation just decided, it'd be really cool if we just flatten it down more.
Let's put it in a hydraulic compressor.
Let's put it on a hydraulic compressor and just, that looks beautiful. But then we still haven't seen what Sony has in their sleep. I know Xbox has this thing where, okay, you're going to have these 3 options of consoles, depending how much or what do you want to do with them. You have the Xbox app on your computer, on your PC if you download Windows 10. So there are games from Xbox that you can play straight to it.
Xbox did.
That is a beautiful move. And we actually tested the party system last night with Carlos. Carlos managed to get into our Xbox party from his computer, and it worked very nicely.
It's completely the Xbox dashboard. I felt I was in my Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a pretty nice move because people say, "Oh, but now PC has everything." No, because now it just means that pretty much Microsoft has a bigger market, like they've always wanted. The same way Nintendo wanted to go back to being a toy company, and they made Amiibos.
Yeah.
And all these extra add-ons for their consoles, which people can buy, and they're technically toys.
And people do buy it.
Yeah, people do buy it. I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Microsoft is pulling the move where it's like, hey, we're a computer company before anything else. So please remember that even though you have the consoles, if you're one of those hardcore people who are in it for everything else, you can just play your games on the PC. Oh, but what about my friends? Oh no, you can just join your friends on the Xbox regardless, and that's pretty cool. Aside from the fact that you can already technically play a game on your computer with your Xbox controller, and now you barely need any extra assistance for a PlayStation controller too. So there may be a chance, there may be a possibility. I say give it 5-10 years tops. If you want to push it too far, we're gonna make it to the point where multi-platform will be a thing, an actual thing, and it may work how we've always wanted. The differences being just the look of the console, or maybe how one thing loads faster than the other.
And probably budget constraint.
And PlayStation is doing this too. I forgot. I saw an article. PlayStation is thinking of adding the PlayStation Now to PC.
Yeah, exactly my point.
And selling a USB port to connect to your PS4.
Yeah,
controller. Yeah, exactly. So at least they're trying to join Xbox and the PC move.
But now that we're talking about this, Nintendo, you got some explaining to do. What are you gonna do?
Nintendo's always stated that they want to be a separate thing, and that's okay. Because
it's okay. I understand they want to be the family-oriented household name console / now, but again, toy company collector's item thing.
It's because,
but it's like
Nintendo's main deal has never really been home consoles ever since the GameCube. It's always been handheld. Handheld has been the one thing that.
Oh, of course, alive. It prints money.
Yeah, exactly. The 3DS is literally their lifeline right now.
Yeah, it's the only source of it's in terms of the gaming market. It's its own only source of revenue.
Exactly.
I mean,
and it's good. It's doing good.
Yeah, I'm not denying it.
The PSP, that's dead.
Yeah,
and we're not talking about the Vita, so.
The PSP and the PlayStation portables, let's just put it like that.
Yeah, but quite frankly, honestly, I don't completely like the fact that they're overhyping these consoles, even if they're just in development.
I don't like it as well because this is my opinion. What I'm not going to include Nintendo because I highly doubt they're going to put their hands into it. If they do, then I'm going to be surprised because it shows that in terms of the console side of their market, they're kind of desperate into having people buy their games, or They just want to make a new Mario or a Zelda or maybe a Metroid. Pray to God if it happens. A legit Metroid game that's VR.
Legend of Zelda make.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I have a feeling that because now they're like we saw this like last E3 that Microsoft and Sony, they really want to push VR to the limit. They want to compete with the Oculus now.
Yep.
When the Oculus, I think like the Oculus is still like it has some models, but it's not fully developed, right?
Yeah, the best one right now in the market is the Vive.
Exactly, but that's the thing. Like, I don't like this is something that I don't want to happen, but I feel like this is what they're trying to set up. I feel like Scorpio and Neo, besides they're gonna have like a lot more like memory and whatnot, and probably like slightly better like processors to make your game probably look a little bit better, or not or whatever. But I feel like they're trying to set them up to run mostly virtual reality games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, I don't mind, but at the same time, I feel like virtual reality is way too soon for the video game market.
It's early. The same thing with 4K. It's too early to implement that in your consoles and your stuff. Like
exactly, like and even now that this it has to do with gaming, but I'm still gonna include it, even though it's not console based. Like, do you really think people are gonna like? Of course, they're gonna have people who's gonna buy these games and put some good hours in it. And if they're gonna go for a full virtual reality thing. But when you see like the majority of people do with their lives, they're not at home playing games. They're always on the street. That's why Nintendo gets a lot of money, and then like apps like Pokemon Go have still people downloading the app as we speak at this moment and playing the game with their friends. It's like I feel like virtual reality shouldn't be a thing at the moment, but if they're gonna make it into a thing, I feel it's it's just too soon, and I feel it's unnecessary at the moment. Still, it's even so, it's kind of an unnecessary because there's a lot of problems that I talked about with other people. Like if you make a legit like virtual reality game, let's just say like I don't want to use the example, but let me use a better example. Like the premise that the Doc Hack side games had that. You really are in the game. You control the character as it is. You can interact with people and whatnot. And this is where it comes into the point I'm getting at. It's the psychological aspect of where virtual reality games will play on the minds of people.
Exactly. I feel like VR is not good for you at all.
Exactly. That's why I don't.
With your mind and gets you dizzy. Some people can.
And then like. Exactly. Like it's a lot of things that there's a lot of problems with VR, like at the moment in development and like probably future like occurrences, which I don't like. It's not that I don't like the concept. It's just that I don't agree with it completely because you can play a lot of games and there's like more room to expand upon, but there's a lot of drawbacks into it because then we're just gonna vamos a caer en la boca el lobo. Como fue antes when games started becoming like when GTA 3 became a thing that everybody talked about GTA 3 like it's like the most violent video game in the world and it's like corrupting our youth's mind and blah 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 blah. Same with like Mortal Kombat. Like having like virtual reality games that literally start messing your concept of like what is real and what's not real. We're just like feeding media to go on the negative aspects of games. Which that's why I don't want these consoles to focus so damn much at the moment because I feel like it's a realm that it needs more. I don't like using this word, but it fits perfectly. Experimenting on it. I'm sorry that if I went like way kind of offhand, but
no, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
The VR, they're trying to force us like they were trying to force us with motion control, and you know how that turned out. It died.
Exactly. like that could be a positive thing. Like they release it. The first couple of games they're like and then it just dies out. Like what happened with motion controls.
It's a cool concept, but we're not gonna use it normally for gaming. That's like, oh, invite a bunch of friends of mine. Let's play VR. That's it.
Let's
We're
go
not
jack
gonna
off a controller.
Just
Yeah.
keep
Get to
in
that
mind,
point.
and we're gonna
Yeah.
close with this. God damn it.
Uh-huh.
Closing with this as a final statement.
Yeah.
The way that gaming is going now is less of a home console experience and more of a single person in one room joining millions others out. And that, my friends, is the biggest gamble. We're going to leave it there. We are pretty much done today.
All right.
So yeah, so this has been the Rating Pending podcast. Likes, comments, everything at the bottom. We're back at the Facebook page. And we hope to see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.